Stop scrolling, please. I'm begging you to stop. I'm 74 years old. I retired 12 years ago. And I need to tell you, the one thing that destroyed my retirement, and nearly destroyed me. Nobody warned me. Not one person. Not my financial advisor. Not my friends. Nobody. And it cost me 11 years. 11 years of my wife's life that I can never get back. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not retired yet. Why should I care what some old man regrets? I've buried my wife. I've lost 11 years with my grandchildren. I've survived the biggest mistake of my entire life. So when I tell you this, I need you to listen. Really, truly listen. Because whether you're 25 or 55, you don't have as much time as you think you do. I'm going to share 3 retirement mistakes with you. The last one killed my marriage. Come closer. Let me tell you who I am and why you need to hear this story. I spent 35 years as a civil engineer. I built 14 bridges across 3 states. I saved for retirement since I was 28 years old. I thought I had it all figured out. I did everything the experts told me to do. Saved 15% of every paycheck. Maxed out my 401k. Had a plan. And then retirement day came. June 14th, 2012. I walked out of that office for the last time. I'll never forget the feeling. Pure freedom. Or so I thought. First month of retirement. I watched TV. A lot of TV. Margaret said I deserved to rest. Then 3 months passed. Then 6 months. Then Margaret stopped smiling when she came home from her part-time job. I spent 8 years asking myself, why is she pulling away from me? What did I do wrong? I gave her financial security. Wasn't that enough? And then, on November 3rd, 2020, in a hospital room during COVID, when I couldn't even hold her hand, I finally understood. What I'm about to share took me 8 years and my wife's last words to learn. You can learn it in the next 10 minutes. Here's what nobody tells you about retirement. Get a pen. Get paper. Write every word of this down. Retirement mistake number 1. The first thing I learned the hard way. You're not retiring from work. You're retiring to purposelessness. Let me tell you exactly how I learned this. This is a story I've never told anyone except my therapist. It was June 15th, 2012, my first official day of retirement. I was 62 years old. I woke up at 5:47 a.m., just like I had for 35 years. Margaret was still sleeping. I made coffee. I sat at the kitchen table, and I realized I had absolutely nowhere to go. For the first time in 35 years, no alarm mattered. No meeting was waiting. No bridge needed my calculations. Margaret came down at 7 o'clock. She was getting ready for her shift at the clinic. She looked at me sitting there and said, "Honey, what are you going to do today?" And I had no answer. None. I said, "I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll play some golf, watch the news, relax." She smiled, but I could see it in her eyes. She was worried. Even then, day 1, she could see something I refused to see. I spent that day watching 4 hours of news. I took a nap. I made a sandwich. I watched 3 more hours of TV. Margaret came home at 6 o'clock. She asked, "How was your day?" I said, "Great. Really relaxing." I was lying. To her, to myself. That became my life. Every single day. For 8 years. Wake up. No purpose. Watch TV. Pretend I was happy. Watch Margaret slowly lose respect for me. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror one morning, 2 years in, and I realized something that made me want to punch that mirror. I wasn't retired. I was erased. The man who built bridges became the man who did nothing. And nothing. Nothing is not rest. It's death. Now, let me ask you something. What do you think retirement is? Be honest. Do you think it's endless vacation? Because that's what they sell you. That's the lie. Work 40 years, then relax forever. But humans aren't built for that. You need purpose. You need to matter. Retirement without purpose is just waiting to die. Write that down. But that's not even the worst mistake I made. The second mistake. This one's harder to talk about. This one involves Margaret. You retired from your job, but your spouse didn't retire from THEIR life. Here's what happened. And if you're married or in a relationship, listen very carefully. It was 2014. 2 years into my retirement, Margaret was still working 3 days a week at the clinic. She loved her job. It gave her purpose. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, she'd get up, put on her scrubs, kiss me goodbye, and every time, I'd feel this resentment. I was jealous of my own wife, because she had somewhere to go. Someone needed her. And I was just there. I started doing this thing. I'd follow her around the house before she left. Do you really have to go in today? Can't you call in? Let's do something together. At first, she was patient. Honey, we'll do something when I get home. But then, month after month, year after year, she got tired. One day, in 2016, she snapped. She said, Jack, I can't breathe. You're here all the time. You have no hobbies, no friends, no life, and you're making me your entire life. I didn't understand. I said I thought you'd be happy. I'm retired. We can finally spend time together. And she said something I'll never forget. Never. She said, Jack, you didn't retire to spend time with me. You retired and made me responsible for your happiness. She walked out, went to work. I sat there for 4 hours trying to understand what just happened. From that day on, everything changed. She started working extra shifts. She joined a book club. She took pottery classes. Without me, we became roommates. That's what we were. Two people living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, but living completely separate lives. The woman I'd been married to for 38 years became a stranger because I suffocated her with my emptiness. You know what nobody tells you? Your retirement doesn't pause your spouse's life. They don't want a dependent. They want a partner. I learned this at the cost of 4 years of coldness. 4 years of her pulling away. 4 years I can never have back. I wish I'd known this before I retired. But you're hearing it now. You still have time to not make my mistake. But there's one more thing. The worst one. And now, retirement mistake number 3. This is the one that cost me everything. This is the one I'd give every penny I have to undo. You kept waiting for someday. Someday never came. Let me tell you about the last conversation I had with my wife. The last real conversation. November 2nd, 2020, COVID was raging. Margaret had been feeling tired for months. We thought it was just stress from work. The doctor said, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It spread to her liver. We can make her comfortable, but there's no cure. Maybe 3 months. I said, no. Run the tests again. There's a mistake. There was no mistake. They admitted her on November 3rd. Because of COVID, I could only see her through a window at first. Through glass. Like visiting someone in prison. For 3 days, I stood outside that window. Watching her get weaker. Watching machines keep her alive. On November 6th, they called me. They said, she's asking for you. COVID protocols are lifted for end of life. You have 1 hour. I walked in. She was awake. Her eyes were still so beautiful. She smiled at me. After years of distance, she smiled. I sat down. I held her hand. It was so cold, so small. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for wasting our retirement. I'm going to fix this. We'll travel. We'll do everything we talked about. She squeezed my hand. And she said, Jack, we had 8 years of retirement together. And you spent all 8 years saying someday we'll go to Italy. Someday we'll visit the grandkids more. Someday we'll take that cruise. She touched my face. She said, someday was today, Jack. It was every day. And you kept waiting for permission to start living. I broke down. I said, we have time. When you get out of here, she interrupted me. She said, there is no when. There's only now. And now is almost over. She took 3 painful breaths. Then she said the last words she ever said to me. She said, don't do this to the time you have left. Please, live it. She closed her eyes. She died 40 minutes later. I sat there holding her hand as the monitor flatlined. November 6th, 2020, 4:47 p.m. I walked out of that hospital alone. 46 years of marriage, gone. 8 years of retirement, wasted, waiting for someday. At her funeral, I looked at the dates on the program. Born 1950. Died 2020. And in between those dates was a dash. That tiny dash was her entire life. I wasted the dash. I wasted her dash. Because I thought retirement meant I had time. You never have time. You only have now. Every single morning since she died, I wake up and I do something. Anything. I volunteer. I call my grandkids. I took that trip to Italy alone because she asked me to live. Do you see it now? Do you understand? Retirement isn't someday. Your marriage isn't someday. Your life isn't someday. You have to choose right now. Today. I'm 74 years old now. I've been a widower for 3 years. I've learned these 3 lessons the hardest way possible. Retirement without purpose is death. Your retirement doesn't pause anyone else's life. And someday never comes. It's a myth we tell ourselves to avoid living today. Today, I wake up every morning in an empty house. Margaret's chair is still empty. That will never change. But every single day, I do what she asked. I volunteer at the hospital twice a week. I see my grandkids every Sunday. I live the dash. Is it easy? No. Do I still have days where I sit on that couch and feel empty? Yes. I'm not perfect. I still fail. But here's what I know. If this broken, guilty old man can learn to live again, you can learn before you break. You can learn before you lose someone. You have something I don't have anymore. You have Margaret. You have your person. You have time. Don't waste it like I did. Please, listen to me. Don't wait until you're 74, standing at a funeral, realizing you wasted everything. Time moves faster than you think. One day you're 30, planning for retirement. The next you're 62, retired. Then 74, alone, wondering where it went. I want you to do something for me right now. Not tomorrow. Not after this video. Right now. Pick one thing I said. Just one. Write it down. Say it out loud. And then do it. Today. Call someone. Plan something. Start something. Today. And then come down to the comments and tell me which lesson hit you the hardest. Tell me what you're going to do differently. Because I read every single one. Every single one. I'm 74. My wife is gone. I can't get those 8 years back. But you can save yours. Don't waste the dash. Live it while you still can.